Here on tour in Ashland, Virginia, Athens, Georgia, Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Ontario, California, Las Vegas, Chicago, Illinois, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Okay, so now here's a Harvard Jewish guy who's a graduate student of Harvard, and he's going to tell you how the Jewish students are really the ones who are feeling the heat from this Gaza conflict. Ready? Here we go.
Reb Breuer's youngest daughter, my great-great-aunt, vividly recalls praying from the Book of Psalms while her father was arrested by the Nazi Gestapo, and their historic Breuer synagogue in Frankfurt completely burnt to the ground on the night of Kristallnacht. As one of the very last Jews to flee Nazi persecution in Germany, my family found home in the United States of America, where they were able to rebuild and sustain their Jewish identity. My story of anti-Semitism, therefore, is deeply painful and it is deeply personal. Members, Kristallnacht did not begin with burning books or broken windows. Kristallnacht did not begin with destroyed synagogues nor expulsions. Kristallnacht began with the acceptance, the normalization, and the celebration of Jew hatred. Members of this committee, I appear before you with an urgent warning. The treatment of Jewish Americans on college campuses across this country, and in particular at Harvard University, is nothing short of a national emergency. It is blatantly anti-Semitic, it is frighteningly discriminatory, and it is deeply un-American. It's not that Jewish students don't feel safe at Harvard. Jewish students are not safe at Harvard. And until Harvard implements any type of accountability, responsibility, or policies to combat anti-Semitism, then all of these Jewish schools and synagogues and communities should not allow Harvard admission recruiters within 50 feet of their school or 50 feet of their child. It is completely unacceptable what Jews are facing at Harvard in 2024 in the United States of America.
But I didn't know Harvard had a drama program. I'll tell you that.
This video was not funnier than Tiffany Haddish's video.
Boy, imagine the conclusions he jumped to knowing that Carl's Jr. logo is a yellow star. Huh? Am I right? Wow.
Are they seeing live combat at Harvard?
Yeah. That's well, it's exactly like he's called it it's just like the Kristallnik. Right? Is this Kristallnik? That people on crystal meth aren't that fucking paranoid. Am I shitting?
How about where Israel had nothing to do with any part of his story?
Right. You know, when you're begging Congress, talk about a first world problem. When you're begging Congress not to allow Harvard recruiters near your children. I mean, what the fuck?
Just to be clear, he didn't feel safe at volleyball day camp.
And it's also crazy because, like, just before this, how long was it, like, any white conservative would go try to speak in a college and he'd just get ran off? Hollywood very much into the anti-white thing, you know, with the Dear White People on Netflix, and it was ran by a lot of ginos, Jews in name only. And like, listen, dude, my girlfriend is Jewish. I love her whole family. It's like I love Jews, but it's like this notion that it goes back to what you're talking about with the abortion thing. It's like if you're telling people to get a vaccine and they have no choice, it's very hard for them to defend you when it comes to the right to choose. It's the same thing with this. You're telling, Jews aren't safe on campus. That's been happening to white kids all the time. In Arizona, they had a no white people part of campus where white kids couldn't go and study. I mean, this has been happening forever, so it's very hard for me to get really upset about any of this.
Wait, are you white?
No, I'm Armenian, which is Caucasus Mountains, but
I don't consider you white.
But
I don't consider you white. I don't consider Jimmy white. He's Irish. Gingers are extra gross.
Is this guy white?
Well,
yes, he is.
This is very much like the axe murderer takes out a restraining order against the woman he's murdering.
This happened in Dirty Harry.
Right? That's what this is.
He brutalized me.
Oh, people are leaving. Okay, good night. Thanks for coming. Oh no, they're just sitting back down. Oh, look at that. They're not fucking leaving.
We're bringing people in.
It was the ginger comments. If he was any more of a ginger pussy, he'd be married to AOC.
But they have to conflate Zionism with Judaism because that's the only way they can get.
That's the only way,
well,
right?
That's the core of Shabbatian Frankism.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I agree.
Someone loved what you said right there, bro.
That's right.
It's like fake Jews.
Oh, is that what that is?
Are we talking Khazarians?
No, don't get in that.
All right, quit talking about shit. I don't know what you're saying. Are you guys doing the shashabikaba? Oh, that's the bakabukva.
That's really anti-Semitic, by the way.
I know. So this guy says, here's a Jewish Columbia student who's pissed. He's pissed. This Jewish Columbia student is pissed. You want to hear about him being pissed off? Here he is.
This is Jared. I'm a master's student at Columbia. I'm Jewish, and I'm pissed.
Tell me why you're pissed.
When thousands of Jewish people have come together over the past 6 months to say, not in our name, this is what we're talking about. We don't want police brought onto campus to beat up people and arrest people for practicing their First Amendment rights in our name. We don't want Israel committing a genocide in Gaza in our name. The role of...
Okay. I've got to be honest, for an angry Jewish kid, he looks fantastic. I got to say. He'd never get a callback at Central Casting for Angry Jew, okay?
He definitely looks like a chosen person, for sure.
I mean, if that's a mad Jew, no wonder Hamas feels emboldened.
I thought that was Michael Cera.
He looks like Jay Cutler, actually.
My Jewish friends are more angry when I try to split up the check. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Wait, did I just say something anti-Semitic? I mean, when I pick up the check. Okay? I'm kidding. I don't have any Jewish friends. Here we go. Anyway.
Well, comedy's back, man.
Comedy's back! Maybe I could get on Netflix. Maybe I could get on Netflix with this shit. Okay, he's got more to say. He's right. This guy's right, by the way.
Zionist Jews, non-Zionist Jews, and Jews who just don't like genocide, which should be everybody, has been very important in pushing this movement forward.
We do have data that every time there is an outburst of violence in Israel and Gaza, anti-Semitism is on the rise internationally. I'm a Jewish faculty member who has been involved from the very beginning trying to work against this narrative that any criticism of Israel is anti-Semitism, because part of the reason that some Jewish students feel unsafe is that they're hearing criticism of Israel and they think it means that it's anti-Jewish hatred. And to them, it might mean that. But I think we need to separate that. There are so many Jewish people who have no affiliation with Israel, no identification with Israel. And so people like myself who are involved more in the protests against the war on Gaza really complicate that to say that pro-Palestinian speech is anti-Semitic.
Students have a range of perspectives. I was raised to be a Zionist, to be a supporter of Israel, to believe that Israel was an important part of my identity. Other people were raised in refugee camps, watched their family members get killed by the Israeli military. So we all know what we're talking about. Divestment has overwhelming support from the students and the faculty who are willing to risk their careers, their safety, and their academic standing. We're modeling the protest off of apartheid South Africa, where universities divesting were a big part of what led to the fall of that apartheid state. The occupation and the apartheid and the genocide can no longer be funded by the US and by Columbia University.
We've heard from students and from family members and from people outside that there's many Jewish students on campus who felt unsafe, who have heard anti-Semitic chants or seen phrases. Do you think that there's a disconnect, a misunderstanding, a misconception?
When we talk about the safety of students on campus here, we're distracting from the safety of everybody in Gaza. Jewish students and Jewish faculty at Columbia, we are trying to do our best to stand up and say, this is not about us. This is about Palestine. This is about Gaza. This is about the children sheltering in tents right now, being bombed by Israel.
We do have Jewish students who, from the beginning of this conflict, are saying they feel very unsafe on campus. That's absolutely understandable that they feel unsafe, and we want to care for them. The universities have been saying that in order to protect a particular group of Jewish students, they're going to penalize, punish, discipline, suppress most other students in their name. And that's creating nothing but division.
I wish more people had gotten to see this beautiful show of solidarity of students from across Columbia, from across the world, coming together to stand up and say no more. It was one of the most incredible things I've ever witnessed.
Okay, so there you go. Yes.
You don't have to like college kids, by the way. When Occupy Wall Street, I didn't like the people that do this instead of clapping, but I was like, I hope Wall Street people jump out the fucking windows because there's a smelly drum circle outside their office. Okay, and that was dangerous. And that's what this is. If you don't like college kids, that's who should be doing this to upset their parents who paid for the wing to scare them about their legacy.
And I couldn't. I agree. And when they say that, oh, those kids don't even know what they're protesting. That kid seems to know what he's protesting, and he's Jewish. Okay, so that just because once again, if they did know what they were protesting, they'd be right, and you can't let them be right.